An ancient teacher asked his students, "How can you tell when the night is ended and the day is coming back?" One eager student said, "Could it be when I can look at the horizon and can tell the difference between a sheep and a dog?" "No," the teacher said. Another student said, "Could it be when I look and see trees and I can distinguish between the fig tree and the fruit tree?" "No," the teacher said. Then the students demanded, "What is the answer?" When you can look at a woman or man and see in her or him a sister, a brother. Because if you can't, no matter what time it is still night. If we can't see in the faces of every woman and man we see, if we can't see brothers and sisters, we are still living in the night. Jesus calls us to a life of humility. And humility is not so much about humbling ourselves from our sort of exalted position. Humility is seeing that we are all on a level plane. We are all the same, regardless of our race, our fortune, our everything. We are all sisters and brothers. Until the day that we can really see that, it's still night. Jesus invited his host at that dinner table to consider inviting to lunch or dinner not the people who are in his circle of friends, the people who might invite him then to a dinner, but to invite the poor and the crippled and the lame, to invite those who will never be able to repay you. When I think about our church, and I look in that direction to the school, I realize that every school day, the children are here for breakfast and they're here for lunch. None of them are going to repay us for those meals. That's not the intention of the feeding. But these are, many of them anyway, not all of them, but some of them are children who may not be able to depend upon a meal at home. And on the days when there's not school, sometimes food is sent home with them so that there's food on a weekend. In some sense, we're fulfilling the gospel mandate to bring to the table those who are so much less fortunate. And when I look in that direction, to the Mother Teresa of Calcutta kitchen and dining room, I know that every Monday through Friday, people are invited to sit at the table and eat breakfast. People are invited to come to the table and eat supper. People who are unhoused, people who are poor, people who are crippled by addiction and all kinds of things. But every day, they are brought to the table, invited as honored guests. And those of you who are helping to serve those meals, think about today's gospel when you do that. You're maybe not inviting them to your dining room table in your home. But in some way, we are indeed trying to fulfill the gospel of bringing to the table all those who may otherwise have no table at which to eat. Next Sunday, the bishops of the United States have asked Catholic churches to voluntarily take up a collection for the two Catholic agencies that are trying their best to get food and supplies into Gaza. It's one way of trying to extend the welcome table of our country, of our parish, to people who have nothing. Hopefully, our donations will be of some help so that people do have food. Some of the most destitute people on the earth. And there's also Sudan, and there's Ukraine, and there's so many places where people are suffering hunger and devastation. Part of the gospel mandate is for us to do what we can. Again, we can't do everything, but we do what we can. We try, as a parish community, to welcome people to the table of the Eucharist, inviting people to taste of the bread of life and the drink of salvation. It's one of the ways that we, again, fulfill the mandate to come and be part of the banquet. Your presence here this morning, in some sense, is itself an act of humility. If you completely thought you were independent, you would have no need to sit here on Sunday morning. If you didn't know your dependence on God, then you wouldn't need to be here. But you're here because we need to be here. Because we know we are not unto ourselves. We know we are dependent on God. So we humble ourselves. We humble ourselves and come into this space to let the Lord feed us at this table. So we make every effort we can as followers of Jesus to try to put into action love in action. The gospel mandate to feed, to bring to the table, to help people see their dignity and their worth. And as we do that, may God continue to increase our ability to do that and help us along the way. So the Lord today invites us to humble ourselves. Sirach, in the first reading, talking to his child, humble yourself. He was talking to a privileged child because that child was in school. Humble yourself all the more was the instruction of Father giving the child. God, through Jesus, instructing us to humble ourselves and make ourselves of service to others, so that we are not living in the night, but that the dawn does come, partly through us trying to bring light into this darkness. So we ask God's grace to continue to help us live the gospel mandate.